Next up, we got why did I say Arkansas? The Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Um, Obviously, the headline here: two five-star freshmen playing in Piscataway, New Jersey. I mean, it's just going to be awesome. And we saw a little bit of it in their exhibition that they just played. Dylan Harper. It's awesome when you have freshmen who don't look like they're freshmen. Like, they don't play like it at all. And that can definitely be said of Dylan Harper. Ace Bailey is just so physically gifted and physically talented. Sometimes he does look like a freshman out there because he just does something completely stupid and the shot selection is maybe a question mark. But he's going to have games where you're like, is this guy going to go number one overall in the draft? Like, that's how good Ace Bailey can be. And I think Dylan Harper is just going to be steady for him. They bring back Jeremiah Williams, who was, I think, their leading scorer last year. And it's a really interesting team. My one question for Rutgers, and then I'll let you chime in. I've been talking a lot. I just talked about Maryland for way too long. Steve Peichel has long subscribed to this strong defensive identity with Rutgers where they slow it down, they grind it out, and they've been successful because they have such a good home court advantage at the rack, and they've had good enough players to where, yeah, they can make that work and they can be competitive in the Big Ten. But now you have two super dynamic offensive players coming in as freshmen. So do you just open it up and let them cook? Because that's kind of what it felt like in the exhibition game. Steve Peichel was just like, you guys go do whatever you want. And it looked great for them. Like for Harper and Bailey, it looked great. But Rutgers as a whole maybe wasn't as sharp defensively as I think we've become accustomed to with Steve Peichel teams. But then you run the risk if you're like, we're just holding fast to that identity, then maybe you stifle a little bit of what Harper and Bailey can give you. So I think there's maybe a little bit of give and take there. That's kind of my big question with Rutgers, but I think just the the talent that they have is so uncharacteristic of a Rutgers team. I really hope this is one that I hope this works out. Absolutely. I think college basketball, we will be the better for it if this team ends up being really good. But we'll see, because again, I do think that there's maybe some competing ideologies at play here.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I'm excited to see what Ace Bailey's like shot diet looks throughout the course of this year because he
Large.
large for
Yeah.
sure. He like, and I know I find myself at times subscribing to the whole he doesn't create like maybe a ton of like the quote unquote like scoring advantages scouts like to hype on. Like there were times where he got kind of like bumped in that exhibition and just like stopped dribbling and just picked it up. But because he's 6'10", he just elevated over the defender and buried a like contested 18-foot mid-range jumper, which I don't know what you do at that point. You know, it's like you can nitpick he got kind of like bumped off balance and like just picked up the ball, but then it's like he buried the shot. Like I think like you said, he more than Harper is going to have those like what are you doing freshman moments, especially maybe if he's like, I know he got trapped a couple of times and like it was easily kind of taken from him. But yeah, he's such an explosive athlete. He's just such a good scorer, and I wonder how. I hope Peichel's system has him more checked in defensively than I think he showed in high school. And again, high school is high school. You're not. I don't think guys like that are always checked in every possession. But yeah, Harper I think is the best freshman in this conference. So I wasn't surprised by anything he did in that exhibition. Like he's just, you kind of knew he was just such a known commodity. I think coming in, and you just kind of expected that level of just everything that he can provide in terms of his creation, playmaking, shooting, all of it. Yeah, I like you said, I think it's the trade off of what do you do maybe defensively at all, like to open up the offense. Can you have like Agbole on the floor or do you have to maybe go smaller just to like space it out a little bit? Um, I know Dirk Hack isn't playing in Merrimack's like patented zone anymore, so I'm sure that's adjustment. But he also was like flying around in that exhibition and showing why he was um, the NEC's conference the defensive player of the year. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. The Martini ad was really good. Jeremiah Williams is good. So is Davis. Like these are all good pieces. I think this is probably again ceiling. Like if Harper and Bailey both hit, like this ceiling could be what it be. I don't know about kind of like the rest of the team. Maybe a little bit.
Well, yeah. So like, I wouldn't even say that like Harper and Bailey hit it. I think they just will hit. Like,
Yeah.
I think they're both going to be awesome.
Yeah.
You're right though. Like, there's interesting complementary offensive pieces here. Like Jeremiah Williams is a guy who can get downhill. He averaged 12 points a game last year. He can handle the ball a little bit. They're bringing Tyson Akoff, who scored 21 points a game last year for Eastern Michigan. And then you have a couple, stretch forwards in Martini and Hayes, who didn't do anything crazy last year from like a production standpoint, but they can space the floor. And that's kind of what you need when you have a lot of these guys who can attack downhill. And it's not like this team has bad individual defenders. Like I think Bailey and Harper especially is like a very good defensive player. It's just like, what is Rutgers going to prioritize this year? Are they going to prioritize making sure Harper and Bailey are just getting their shots up? They're going to be like number 2 and 3 in the NBA draft, or is it like we have to play good team basketball? You know. So we'll see with Rutgers. I mean, Ace Bailey, just from like a pure I like to watch basketball standpoint, is going to be up there for me for players that I'm like specifically tuning in to watch, and probably one of the players this year where you can use was it Paul George who after that Damian Lillard shot was like, that's a bad shot.
That's a bad shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's going to be that's I think going to be used pretty often for Ace Bailey this year, or the Patrick Ewing. Like, you practice that shot.
But he
When have you ever
does.
practiced that shot? But he
That's,
does. Yeah,
he does.
yeah, he does, and he hits a good amount of them. So Rutgers is interesting, high ceiling, and like not even the lowest floor either, I would say.